So yeah, all of this like random nonsense happening all over the show. I mean, that's just the unfortunate thing with misogynistic men as well. Like, they take pride in hurting women, in afflicting the ladies out there in these streets beautiful hair, doing a lovely thing. They take pride in hurting women. They don't really care about the ramifications of their actions. And so for those reasons, when women are fighting, it's like whatever, it's what these women always do. They like to fight and they can't rest. Unfortunately, misogynists, albeit hating women, also end up marrying them. And so when you're then the wife of one, sorry for you type thing. And I would beg this question: if a man can be misogynistic to one woman, he cannot be loving and doting and normal to another. So inevitably he will manifest a strange thing. So when we are dealing with a culture of that level of insanity in men, you have got to seek out a supernatural God to pretty much sift out or weed out a man for you, because a man will always put his best foot forward in the very beginning. And so you will think he's a really great guy, and then he will manifest nasty demons later on, and those manifested demons will be so unbelievable, for crying out loud, that you will wonder, but why didn't I see this? However, the Holy Spirit can go before. God can see what a man is going to become, and the Lord also has seen what a man has done in the past to some other women, and since he has no Holy Spirit, he has highly unlikely changed, and so therefore he will do that to you too. And then one day you will be able to understand where the ex-wife was coming from, or the ex-girlfriend was coming from, but not before you first have beef with that same ex-girlfriend and ex-wife, such that now when you're getting a divorce, the ex-wife or the ex-girlfriend is laughing at you. She's laughing at you on Samia Unotella at the time when you were busy marrying my ex, but now you have become his second victim. You know, pretty much singing her like that song, yeah, Tony Braxton. Who do you think I am? Don't you know that he was my man? You end up on that mean-spirited, bitter tip, and it's just not worth it. Anyway, going back to my mom and explaining to you guys that she has left me, abandoned me to struggle with acne, facing the risk of acne scarring, pitted scars, all these things that you get when you let acne just thrive without seeing a dermatologist for it. There could be permanent damage, and my mother literally just watched it. She has been watching, but like my acne going from bad to worse. I forgot to add this. My acne going from bad to worse, and she's done nothing. She's just been looking at my skin worsening and worsening and worsening, and she has done nothing. She has seen the situation getting worse and worse. Thank you, however, because I found what I imagine to be a solution, because I have not gotten any new acne even right now on my period. So I found something that's finally working, and I'm just waiting now for the hyperpigmentation to clear, to see just how bad the damage is, to see if I need to go and get, like, you know, a Banish or what do you call this thing, like a derma roller or whatever, or maybe a chemical peel once I start to make money, or some kind of like laser, like whatever. Like, I don't know how bad my acne scarring will be, if at all there will be any. I have a history of my skin clearing pretty well with no visible signs of like me ever having had acne. I'm kind of hoping that that's the case, but if because of the fact that I got older, the integrity of my epidermis has been compromised, and so now there is grander propensity for scarring that is really deep, I will have to go and do laser resurfacing or chemical peels or whatever, like stuff that is really extreme. But I would never have gotten there if I had seen a dermatologist on time. But a woman has allowed her own daughter to basically lose her beauty because of jealousy. What gets a woman to that point? The very thing that I'm busy talking about right now. My mother is watching my skin wither, and she will do nothing about it. And recently she even left a flu, something that could have graduated to bronchitis, and a cough that was, you know, quite bad. But I nipped it in the bud, caught it on time, dealt with it, I believe, healthily. I took the rest that I am in and of myself quite healthy. I work out, I do all that stuff, so that helped me along, I believe, with how bad the situation could get. 1 minute. How bad the situation could get, I believe, was eradicated by just my health, my lifestyle choices. They came in really handy, so that all I needed was like a cough mixture. Like even right now you can hear that this is a clearing cough. I'm not that bad. I'm really not that bad at all. And I'm gonna tell you just exactly what happened today. Like, if my mom really knew, if she believed that I was really that bad, she would have done better, than what it is under heaven that she would have done differently from what she's even presently doing. Like when something is apparently so intense that a person could die, you want to rush to go and get a prescription. But if I tell you, I still don't even have my prescription right now. I went to a doctor. I gave her the script because she would not let me buy my own prescription, and I still don't have my medication. Anyway, but we'll get to that now, right? But I wanted to let you guys know that my cough I was left to heal on my own. It's exactly what a bad mother will do. Like, just when you are healing, just when you are recovering, then only she wants to rock up and act as if though she's been there for you. You don't want to be that thing. You don't want to be that mother. And understand, you are going to be that mother. You will envy your own child to a point of letting her skin acne scar, not get her seen by a dermatologist, not take her to a dentist, allow cavities to thrive in her teeth, risking her losing them. You will do that. And so this kid is in danger until essentially they take care of themselves, until they get to a point of independence. And that's what I'm striving towards. So I can go and see a dentist and deal with my cavities. So I can go to a dentist and deal with an orthodontist and realign my teeth that fell out of place after some years had progressed. One time one of my underwirings broke, and it caused my bottom teeth to pretty much try to go back to where they were before I got my braces. And so that's something I gotta go and deal with. I don't think I'll be seeing a dermatologist unless of course I'm going for anti-aging treatment or whatever, because I do believe my acne is going to get fixed without that intervention. But it took so much, and it took advice and recommendation from people seeing that my skin's got issues, other people in the street caring about my bad skin condition. It took that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Other things like a pap smear, given that I am a woman of a certain age, and every year you gotta get a pap smear to make sure that you don't have cervical cancer. Just basic stuff that a woman needs to keep doing, taking care of themselves. My mother does not care about that, does not care about me having my own independence, a career. And also she did not want me married. She did not want me getting married because she did not want to see me happy in that state. Is an unloved woman that got married, and because of the state that she was in maritally, she then became the bane of her daughter's existence. She ended up jealous and envying her own child to a point of guys, sabotage. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Envying your own daughter to a point of sabotage. That is what a bad man can do in the life of a woman. So do not look at, especially when you're still young, women, do not look at these gorgeous men, these good-looking men. Look at Andrew Tate, for instance. Andrew Tate is not a gay man. He is straight. So essentially he is a risk to heterosexual women. He is a risk to women all over the world. Andrew Tate is also really handsome. He's extremely good looking. And when you still look like that, even when you are a dog and a monster, like no man's business, rude and disrespectful to women, there will always be a woman that will be trying to kiss your behind no matter what. She will want to be your wife. She will jump at the opportunity of you proposing marriage to her. She will ride out a relationship of 6 years with no marriage proposal, purely because, but you're my Andrew. And even if he's a hard-knock misogynist, just like Andrew Tate, you will stick by him. You will even go and besook him in prison, where he is facing, a sentence for human trafficking women, sex trafficking women. You know his charges? Even Candace Owens is literally kissing the behind of Andrew Tate. That's what's good. A man that is a misogynist and is horrible to women, therefore, but is nonetheless really handsome, and sometimes they've also got a lot of money, just like Andrew Tate. And so the combination of handsome and moneyed then makes women unprepared, heed warnings, to look at the alarm bells flailing around in the atmosphere, in the cosmos, in the ecosystem, and so flee. However, women, you must understand, even these handsome Andrew Tates get to the age of Hugh Hefner. And Amanje, Hugh Hefner, having been handsome as a young man but was nonetheless an old pervert, ought help you understand that Andrew Tate, absent of redemption in Christ and changing his mind about his nasty ways, will be an old pervert. He will be an old pervert. However, by the time he gets to being an old pervert, he will have a trail of cadavers of women that in these glory years were prepared to allow their virtue and dignity to be spent by a man that ought not have touched any such virtuous thing. A man that ought not have been enabled to be in the presence of any women at all, let alone virtuous ones. And the sad thing about bad men is that they tend to be very addicted to good girls. They mess up a lot with bad women that are happy to let them mess up with them, but then they become obsessive and very heavily pursuing over good girls, especially when they want to get married. They tend to want to marry anything but the kind of woman that he has been able to use. So they become very addicted to girls that say no to them, precisely because they are misogynistic, nasty gangsters, and they will appear to clean their act just for the sake of achieving to get every kind of woman in the cosmos, every kind of woman in the ecosystem. It's a game for them. It's a hunt. Do you understand? And the hunt that it is makes it ever more so a sport when you are hard to get. And when you do finally get gotten, he then just reduces you to the rest of these women. On some, every woman has a price. It's just that some women's prices are higher. Everybody can be gotten to. And so you end up being reduced to every last one of what he calls his whores, given that he's a pimp. Exactly. So if you don't want to be reduced to yet another conquered woman by a man, having given him a child even though you were sitting on your convictions concerning having a child out of wedlock. First of all, give your life to Christ. Give your life to Christ so that you've got conviction about sexual sin, so that you will not be prepared to have sex before marriage. But men like Andrew Tate, when they get to a point where they want to get married now, because ultimately these misogynists get there, they realize that it's lonely just playing around a whole bunch of women, so they get to a point where even though he can't stand women and he speaks badly about them, he will want to marry one. And now, because they want to get married, they will want a good girl. And if you are a chaste woman waiting on the Lord for a husband, you will also find versions of Andrew Tate that will claim to be Christian just so they can marry you. And so then when you get added to their body count as a wife, imagine that. Imagine you being called a woman that is in the body count of a man. Ule musadi. When you find yourself as his wife, you will be also officially conquered. It's just that it took putting a ring on your finger to conquer you. That is still an unloved woman. It took a ring on your finger to conquer you. Everybody else gave it to him for free. With you, it was a little bit more hard work. So he will disrespect you even as his wife. Even as his wife. And when that's the case, divorce is inevitable. You will find yourself in a nasty space, and so you will be an unloved woman that has gotten married. You have married a man that does not love women because he is a misogynist, but he worked to get you to a place of marriage because you were the hard woman to get. And when then he gets you, you will just be yet another trophy, and a trophy of which he will flail before misogynists that all along have been struggling with you in particular, but he got to be the one that bagged you. So be careful with handsomeness as well. With handsomeness as well. Be careful with guys that look really good. And yeah, like I said, unfortunately with women, when a guy looks good, a lot of times they will be prepared to ignore a lot of rubbish, especially if he looks good alongside having money. A lot of rubbish will be neglected and abandoned at the door. So Jesus Christ is really the only way out. And my mom was a conquered woman by a misogynist, my dad. So too are many of my former friends, conquered women who were wanted, highly sought after, and they ended up basically won. Like they gained them, and then these men celebrated. I remember my best friend, my ex-boyfriend used to hang out sometimes with her boyfriend. And at her graduation, right, at a graduation party, my boyfriend hung out with her, and my ex and I used to gossip sometimes, if not all the time. And my ex would therefore tell me the funny little sorry stories of everybody around. And after the graduation party of my best friend, my boyfriend was like, "Hey baby, wait see boyfriend ya chomi hao o ntjweditse hore yena o tshwana le ntate wa chomi ya hao because o na le bana ba bangata mo strateng, and he's going to convert chomi ya hao into mewateng." So basically what that means is my ex was telling me that her boyfriend confessed to my boyfriend as they were talking together as men, that my friend, this guy, my friend's boyfriend, not at the time, it became the husband, so he conquered her. He was like a baby daddy of multiple children all over the show, and my kid had no kids. Not my kid, my friend had no kids, and was just this like young woman all fresh that I don't understand what she was doing with a guy on by 5. But anyway, whatever. That was what was going on, and this guy went and told my boyfriend that My friend's dad reminds him of him. He's like, like he was like, when I look at the dad of my woman, he reminds me of me, because I've also got a whole bunch of kids all over the show. And so my girlfriend is going to end up just like her mom. And she indeed ended up just like her mom. Took a lot of rubbish. Baby daddy of multiple children all over the country. Like, that guy literally had kids all over the country. Like, yeah, it was just, it's a mess, okay? I don't know why she was with him. We did try to warn her, but whatever. And he was also priding himself in having conquered my friend, and in having basically given over my friend to her mother's generational curse, because her mother had settled for a man just like him too. Where she would have given a bad man extra kids over and above the ones that he came into the picture with, and he never even stopped having children outside of that marriage, even after he married the mom. He prided himself in converting my friend into her mother. Yeah. And my ex-boyfriend told me this because, you know, we used to gossip, back when we used to be tight and before things fell apart. That's what's good. That's what these men do. They might not in your face speak to you like that, and you might feel like you're the special one in comparison to all the other women that he has lain waste in these streets. But to other men, he will talk about you like you're just another trophy that he won. Another trophy, and my friend was a trophy. And as Dom Jane Karabo, because I was not born again at the time, didn't know better. That's what's good. I didn't tell my friend. The women are not loyal to each other that way, the way that men are, unfortunately. I did not tell my friend to flee on some hebatung. Your boyfriend is busy telling my man that you are just another remake of your mom. Just the same sorrow, bitter thing that your mother is. You're gonna end up that thing. Because he knew how to conquer you, just as your dad conquered your mom. I didn't tell her. However, when, after getting born again, I definitely did speak my mind about how I felt about the baby daddy. No, well, it wasn't her baby daddy yet, about him, because the two of us were basically exchanging notes about these bad guys that we were with, and the two of us had made a decision that we were going to be chaste and wait on the Lord for husbands, and I had already left my boyfriend, but then I was encouraging her to leave hers. And so I not so much told her this particular story, but I did share my mind about how I felt about him, and how it is that Amutwanele, he's got too many kids, you're still with a clean slate, all that jazz. I shared my heart. So I did, I guess, redeem myself from not telling her about that other event once I did get saved, because I started to become loyal to where I ought to have been loyal all along. Thanks to redemption in Christ, I started to have the right perspective. That's what I'm trying to explain. This planet is very heartbreaking to you guys. That is what I'm trying to explain to you guys right now. 1 minute. Hey, what's up? I'm back. I know it took a minute, but then again, you wouldn't notice. I was busy saying, hore, yes, even when they're like super duper handsome, you're like proper, you need to be careful. You need to be able to identify if you're dealing with a misogynist up in your grill, and handsomeness alongside money can really mess you up as a woman, because you will be tempted to disregard or ignore flailing red flags that are all up in your grill. Like, they are waving all up in your, like, a flag, a whole funny little misogyny colored flag, and you will ignore it because the dude is fly. My just like my best friend's former best friend's boyfriend, who became her husband, was a whole flagrant misogynist, right, that spoke smack about his girlfriend audaciously to his girlfriend's best friend's boyfriend, trusting the boyfriend to say nothing. But my boyfriend used to gossip with me and told me anyway, and I did not relay that information. And one of the biggest things that make you stick around when you are still beautiful and young, baby, while we're young, cause you think you are Janae Aiko. When you're still beautiful and young, is the fact that these guys get older, they become like Hugh Hefner, and now they're just ugly misogynists that whose outward appearance has now caught up with what's actually going on the inside. So be afraid, especially of handsome guys. Like, be very afraid, especially of cuteness. This like animal from the US was handsome outwardly, and it nearly made me sort of kind of faint and fall on my chair type thing. If anything, it not nearly made me faint and fall on my chair. It did, but God is the one that rescued me. And that's why I keep on saying, like, give your lives over to the Lord Jesus Christ before you end up the baby mama of some deadbeat that is a misogynist. And even though he ends up marrying you, even if you end up married to him, there's a trail of cadavers of women that he impregnated and didn't marry, but he promised. There's also a trail of cadavers of women that he has just very much upset. And you will be thinking that you're the one that got the ring. You're the one that got the ring, making like that woman in that Toni Braxton music video. You will literally have like a little bit of a Toni Braxton / Karabo rocking up to you on some "Who do you think I am? Don't you know that he was my man? And forget about him." Don't let yourself get there. Check out the warning flags, and this is especially a message for women who are getting older. You know, like you're like basically 30 up. Okay, you're 30 up and you are worried about your biological clock. You're concerned. TikTok, all that jazz. That is the kind of stuff that even though you held to some standards in your 20s, you will loosen them later on, the older you get. And the devil knows that. The devil knows that women have a tendency to let loose like originally held convictions as time progresses when they're not married. He knows how to mess a woman up to a point of basically threatening her soul. That is yet to get married. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, women get derailed by men. If you think about the judgment on Eve after falling with Adam, I keep raising this over and over again. The Lord said that Eve's judgment will be that from now on your desire will be for your husband, alongside of course having children in pain. So if at all it's a judgment for your desire to be with your husband, it must mean that there is something wrong with that desire being strong. In other words, you will love your men to a point of idolatry, to a point therefore of comprehensively disregarding what God has to say about what you ought take in your stride for as a woman. For a man that is ungodly, you will take him just in so far as he looks like Andrew Tate and has money like Andrew Tate. A man that is therefore going to make you very unhappy, disregard you, and even though his prayers will be hindered, you will be married very unhappily. And when you are unhappily married or unhappily in a union with a man, you should not be fornicating in the first place. Let's just put that out there. The tendency towards ending up a bitter broad, a bitter big woman, an older woman that also is mistreating her children is very high. And when you cannot love your children, when you are not honoring of your role as a mother, you're sinning against God. And so if the devil can get you to perpetually sin by simply using that judgment of yours, you're gonna love a man to a point of idolatry. So even when you have all the red flags all up in your grill, you will ignore them, and in the early years you will be comforted by his handsome face. But as he grows older, you will just be embittered by the fact that not only are you losing your beauty, but so is he losing his swagger. And the two of you will then end up either divorced or never ever married, but you've given him a baby and he has gone on to marry another woman, and you are embittered by why it wasn't you. Just a myriad, a collage of potentialities that could be you, type establishment thing. And then now what would be his good looks is no longer motivation enough to help you understand why you even set that out. And now perspective is knocking in. However, it's knocking in too late. It's knocking in too late, and then you start to be bitter and you mess with young women. You then start to hate Abotigi Nabayang. And now for me, that is one thing that for the life of me, I'm trying very hard to protect myself from. Envy of younger women. It is inevitable that they will come, and it is inevitable that they will be more beautiful than me. It is inevitable that I will one day not be intimidating to any woman at all. It is inevitable, because I will lose my beauty, all of it. And all the glory that I will have had will now be in nothing but photos if I get to an old age, okay? That is an inevitability. So given that it's an inevitability, how do I protect myself from envying young women so much that I will hate them and not be the wise counselor that I ought to be to them as an older woman? How do you become a happy grandmother? How do you have gray hairs without bitterness? How do you get there? How do you get to a point you are no longer being looked at by anybody, your breasts are down to your buttock, and no man is trying to wink at you? How do you get there and still love women that are so beautiful that they're like the sun in the room, everybody gets blind when they walk in? How in the world do you love women like those? How do you eradicate the temptation to scan them up and down, mistreat them, want to find something wrong with them, and the smallest little mistake they make, you yell at them, pounce on them, sabotage them. How in the world do you protect yourself from becoming that lady? How do you love young women? And so therefore honor God. And so therefore go to heaven. Save your soul. How do you do that? How do you have that holiness without which no one will see God? How do you gauge that, look, I had my time, let the other people share? How do you get there? How do you get there, guys? You gotta be godly. Because when you're in Christ, you recognize that beauty is fleeting, charm is deceptive, but a woman who fears the Lord will be saved. And there is comfort in the fact that this 27-year-old flame of fire in the room that makes every guy gawk at her when she walks in. One day you will look like her again. You are guaranteed an incorruptible body that will one day be that gorgeous again. You will be reversed like Benjamin Button back to your youth. And so there is no need to be bitter about lost youth. However, even right, you're still here on earth suffering with things like jealousy. How do you minimize the potential for it? Get yourself loved, ladies. Is that basic? When a man loves a woman, he has got power to rescue her from envying her daughters, from envying her neighbor's daughters, from envying her neighbor's daughter's best friends, from envying her subordinates. I had a boss that was 10 years older than me at MTN, 10 or 12 years older than me. And she cast spells on me and Anale husband. She had everything she wanted in life. She basically went through her milestones happily and joyfully. Not one of those typical black women that will get to 40 basanyalwa. No, she got married. She was having the babies. She was living the life, living in the mansion with the husband that was equally successful. She had it all. And yet despite all that which she had, she decided Karabo was not going to get to enjoy my milestones. Karabo is not going to get to enjoy her career. Karabo is not going to be what I want her to be. She envied me. How in the world? I could not understand. Are you going to go uyoba nomona over umfazi that much to a point where you will refuse that she should have her life milestones? All I can account for my boss's activity, go MTN, is that maybe I don't know what was going on in her marriage. I can't speculate. I don't know. But when you don't know Jesus, your own aging, or maybe even being with a man that every so often his eyes wander in the mall when he's walking with you, when you're heavily pregnant, that can make you insecure in the presence of younger women. And when you don't have Christ and you don't understand eternity, you don't have that perspective of the fact that you're going to gain an incorruptible body. Not only that, when you don't have a man that's actively beating his flesh into submission, gouging out his eye, cutting off his hand. If anything causes you to sin, gouge it out, cut it off. That's what the Bible has to say. The Bible also says, men, if you look at another woman with lust, you commit adultery with the heart. So a man that's actively avoiding pornography, and a man that's also actively trying very hard, whether they're on university campus or in the office, not to stare and ogle at young women or women at all, whatever, in the office that they find attractive. A man that is actively exercising self-control, that's a form of love. A man that fears God more than he fears man, and so he will fear God enough to not cheat on you with his eyes, with his wandering eye, because he knows that that is a sin against God. It's a sin against God. He fears God, not you. A man, when he's not in the presence of his wife, will do all different kinds of weird, strange, silly stuff. When I was working at MTN, there was this one couple there. They were married already before they worked at MTN. I don't know how they applied for a job at the same company and ended up working there, like too close for comfort for me. But anyway, whatever. They were both working there, and the guy was always checking, never mind me out, but any other like sexy little thing walking around. And the way that he would check other women out, he would do it in a way that they would notice, even if these women were close in their collegial relationship, working relationship, his wife. So you know his wife, you're always working with the wife, you're in close proximity, you might even be in the wife's team. At some point of which I was in the wife's team, but then the wife moved to marketing. And so she became part of marketing. And we stayed in, I guess I was still in the business section. And despite knowing his wife's closest colleagues, and knowing that they work together, he used to ogle and stare and sometimes go all the way to a point of flirting. And so therefore, to those who were prepared to do it, shellering women in the office, working with his wife. I mean, that level of disrespect, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but at least there are men who, when you're around, they will act like they don't see nobody else. But then there are women who marry such monsters who corner. He's busy like salivating after other people, and not even knowing just how the loyalty level of women. I guess men trust that women are not loyal to each other, but unawares to yourself as to the loyalty level of other women in this ecosystem. You don't know if some woman that you sexually harass with all of your looking downs and talking sexy to a woman that is your colleague, you don't know if she could basically tell you, what are you doing? You're a married man, and on top of that, tell you his wife. Did not even gauge that as a risk enough to at least stop. That was not enough motivation to make him stop. Well, when you are with a godly man, those are things that you can trust are good. When a man is truly born again, truly saved, you can trust that the regulator is not so much your absence or presence in the room. The regulator is an invisible God in heaven that he fears. And because he fears God, he will protect your heart. Otherwise, he's in trouble with his maker. The Bible says, men, listen to your wives, otherwise your prayers will be hindered. A man that does not want his prayers hindered will know not to mess with his woman. That's what's good. So that's why y'all need to get born again, and not only born again, but made vigilant and wise. And also not only vigilant, wise, and born again, but marry only a believer, only a Christian that is on your spiritual level, also actively gouging out eyes, cutting off hands, exercising self-control, fearing God. That you might not have to, perpetually look over your shoulders where your man is concerned, so that you will not get to a point where your man makes you so insecure that you will bewitch your subordinate when you're 37 and there is a 26-year-old intern in the office, or a 26-year-old new project manager, or a 26-year whatever, like youth, or people that are 10 years, 15 years younger than you. You will recognize yourself as older sister, mama lady. Hey, when you come to mama stroking you gotta be mama to them and not some rival, because then when you become a rival, you will become a saboteur. You will pull the rug from under their feet. You will throw them under the bus. You will sabotage their careers. You will sabotage their marriage prospects. You will become a monster. Now you got the ring. You got to say, you got to make like sauce. You got to make like Amanda Black. You properly in these streets got to walk down the aisle, but you don't want another lady doing that, because we're now wrong. When I was on the come up, young, my friends, sonke we were young, ne? The first to get married, I witnessed a phenomenon all up in that monster that made me very disquieted, because that was the beginning of the end of relationships between us as abangani, and I couldn't understand it. The ones that got married first, the way they changed, guys, the attitude that they started to give us, and how like clenchy and tight-fisted they were of their husbands, almost as if they were Tina missing a Tembeki as friends. Like we were not trustworthy to be in the presence of their husbands. None of us had ever stolen a boyfriend ever before of another friend. We had never stabbed anybody in the back. We'd never betrayed our girls like that. Like we were never the kind of woman that when your man walks in the room, you gotta hold him tight, because all over, loose, Jezebel. Uyakenya D1 makafika wonke umuntu kwamela vimbe amadoda abona abo. None of us were like that. We were not loose cannons. Hey, no one had ever shot at anyone with a stinner, and no one had ever stolen anyone's man. Me and my languages that are not understood elsewhere. None of us had ever betrayed our girls like that. Yet when my girls got married, guys, you're the ones who got married first. They became so hostile and so mean and so removed and cold and ill-spirited towards us. They did not want their men around us. They did not want us around them, visiting their new homes where they were living with their husbands. It's like it was all of a sudden out of the question. And I remember one time this one, not all of them, some, not all, right, did that. I remember the one time when we were having a discussion about the new behavior, the new changed atmosphere of a friend that just got married. One of the girls said, guys, that's just the way it is. She was like, that's just the way it is. Things will never be the same with that girl. She was singing us, that's just the way it is. I was like, how do you know? You're young like us. And she was like, that's what my mom told me. She was like, that's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. She's gone. Because she said to us, Gunjalo. Because when women get married, it changes that dynamic. It's different. And when as different as it is, they can't hang out with single girls anymore because they're a bad influence. They can't hang out with single girls anymore because they're still busy partying, clubbing. They can't hang out with single girls anymore because it could mess with their marriages. And so she made us kind of shut up, because apparently that's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. But then as the years progressed, I was like, God, how is that even okay? Because men don't do that. Men don't abandon their boys after they get married. And women feeling like they gotta go and fight and only hang out. So basically what she was saying is that the rite of passage to bring our friend back into our life is for us to get married too. That we have to get married so that we can all hang out together as married couples. So basically she was lost to us until Nati Sichata. What then of the spinster in the room, which I now today am? I guess you will not have friends. The spinster in the room basically loses every friend she's ever had from primary school, every friend she's ever had in high school, every friend she's ever had at varsity, every woman that she's ever collected in the office that she got along well enough with to become close friends. Yeah, you gotta forget about them when they get married. Really, that's what's going on. Oh, okay. Except herein lies the deal. It's a misogynistic principle to separate women from each other. And if at all a woman is married, she ought to be responsible, yes, because you should not still be doing that when you're a married woman. That is true. But we were already all growing up. We were already basically out of the club. We were just career women pursuing our dreams now. We were not still umting all over the show. So really and truly, there was no justification for her sudden change of temperature. That is what rather happens when a woman enters into a relationship with a possessive, controlling man. He will tell her, your lifestyle that you used to live before you and I got married, you know you can't carry on with that, right? But the same dude will still be hanging out with dudes that are not married. He will still be hanging out with his best friend. And yet however, that hypocrisy does not apply with you as a woman anymore. That whole change of atmosphere and color in women was, yes, because of a misogynistic climate in men, but also because of an insecurity that suddenly dwells in women once they get married. That should not happen. A woman should not, after getting married, not feel beautiful anymore. She's still the same gorgeous girl, has not aged a day since she got married last year, for crying out loud. And so why all of a sudden would you be so insecure in the presence of your single friends, okay, to a point of avoiding them now? It is due to the fact that character, guys, women in and of themselves, they allow themselves to be eroded away at because they know who they've married, because they know who in the world they have married. If you have not married a trustworthy, doting guy, and you have settled, and it took quite a lot, Frank Granshap, to even get to a point of ukchata, you are going to hold on to him for dear life and also be insecure in the presence of single friends of the way that love stops being given you once you're inside a marriage. They stop trying, they stop working hard, they start to act a particular aloof way. They are no longer as doting, and they are no longer basically working like dogs to win you. And a man that forgets to continue winning you is a man that is not convicted that you should love a woman the way that Christ loved the church. A man that does not recognize the importance of perpetually staying loved. And if you don't stay loved as a married woman, you will have beef with women that still have hope. You will have beef with women that still have a shot at lerato. Women that are looking forward to linyalo. Women that are looking forward to pretty much the things that you have already experienced. You are going to pass them shade. You are going to give them attitude. The mistake that you made in marrying literally the absolutely wrong guy will cause you to mistreat your girlfriends. It will cause you to treat them like they are man stealers, man thieves. It'll cause you to treat your girls like they could steal your man, because they change as soon as kuchadiwe. As soon as the marriage happens, as soon as you've said I do, they change. They don't act the way that they used to be prior to marriage. They relax, they become pompous, and then they make the woman insecure. The insecurity of which then causes the woman to literally slather with character assassination her best friends. Abangani bakhe manje seledi potential Jezebel that could steal this man. Every woman becomes competition, and so they start to avoid single women. That is an epidemic that happens mostly in the female community and not so much in the male community, evidencing that it is a problem with love. And basically the result of the curse on Eve, who it was written about that from now on your desire will be for your husband, because you will long for him, you will want him, you will desire him, but you will not have him. He will not give himself to you. He will not love you. You will be a married woman with a man who is appreciating every other woman in the street except you. And when you are married to a worldly man, he sees no error with that, and you're just this nagging thing that won't stop being all up in his grill about certain things. But when it's a godly man, he intentionally actually seeks out godliness in loving you. Because that's an instruction, a prescription from God, to love a woman the way that Christ loved the church. And when you are loved, you are not going to pass your girlfriend's shade. You are not going to pass, therefore, girls, young women, shade. The problem with unloved women who get married, it's always young women. It's always women that are happy. It is always women that have a prospect, a future. And back when we were in the come up, women that was busy getting married first. They were getting married when we were all like still 22, 23. We were still very young. And so because all of us were young, we were the equivalent or tantamount of daughters that mothers are envying. We are the equivalent of the youngest women in the office. We were the youth, the come up that were yet to get wed off to men. And so eligible bachelorettes, or I don't like the word spinster because it suggests you never get married type setup thing. So the problem is always the eligible bachelorettes. The problem is always younger women that are available. So when they get married, they young, right? The ones who got married young, they made out of us flawed females that could steal a man, when none of us had a history of Ukshaya any one of our girls need dinner. Type establishment thing. It happened like clockwork, inevitably, amidst most of the women, the young women that I knew that got married young. They changed. They gave attitude. They stopped hanging out with us. They acted as if though we were villains. They treated us like villains. They got nervous, and the only reason why you would get nervous in a newlywed against young women, other women, is because your man is acting in a way that suggests that there is something you have to be scared of. A man that is acting in a way that makes it clear that really, frankly, any minute now, it won't be you that I'm loving. It should not be that way. So I will highlight this over and over again. I will keep saying it. Women, your only way out of the curse of Eve, where you will desire your man unto idolatry, is Christ. You have to love the Lord, because when you love the Lord, you're given wisdom. And upon having wisdom, you understand what it means to make sure you're not unequally yoked. And when you're not unequally yoked, you're with a man that understands God and fears him. And if he fears the Lord, he will therefore be self-regulating in a way that you don't have to keep checking up on him. So you can trust your man in the presence of other women, young, old, medium, whatever. You will trust him, and so therefore you won't be insecure, and on top of that, he will be treating you well. So you won't have a reason to abandon your single friends. You won't have a reason to also mistreat your daughters when you get older and you start to lose your glory. You understand what I'm saying? Very well. Now that you have taken that, I understand, therefore, the importance of waiting in spite of the years progressing. Because it turns out that when you're in a bad union with a horrid man, even when you're just 23, you can still be a bitter broad. You can still be a bitter woman that has been afflicted. Hell hath no fury like such a scorned lady as that. Okay, so this is how I style my hair. I'm just grabbing these Pinima bobbies and putting them inside the other Pinima bobbies to protective style. I mean, this is already my protective style. It's just like, yeah. And it stays like this for 2 months. It should be no more than 2 months. I left it in for too long this time around, you guys. That's why there's so much matting, and it's just causing so much in me. Frustration. But despite it all, I'm glad with what's happening up tops. Just as long as my hair is not dying and falling off, we are happy. We're still growing a healthy afro. Congratulate the girl. Anyway, whatever. Where was I? It's important to just love the Lord sorry, to love the Lord. Like, the first thing, people are so turned off by the prospect of getting saved, born again. Whenever a person goes in the street and is like, love the Jesus, everybody's trying to run away, hide, run for cover. Everybody's trying to look at you like, like Jesus freak, I'm not right. Except that's the only way out, It's the only way out. It's the only way you have any real protection from guys abusing you as a bet. Like when you're the virgin in the neighborhood that every guy has made a bet to break the virginity of, when you've got men like those living in your vicinity, ain't nobody safe for you except the man that understands Jesus, loves the Lord, and is not betting for your virginity, but is praying to the Lord for your hand in marriage. And so finally, laying with you on your wedding night is not going to be something that follow afterwards. He can quickly send a text message on some, I won. Like when you're a bet, like what happened in the movie Cruel Intentions with Sebastian. Yeah, winning a bet over Reese Witherspoon, breaking her virginity. A man that makes a bet to be the one guy that gets the girl in the whole school that's still a virgin while everybody else is having sex. When that's you, but this time around you're a whole grown woman, like proper. A man betting, men vying, betting for when that way. So the more hard to get you are, the more of a cruel intention there is getting to you, and the more of a price there is to be won among men that are misogynistic for your hand. So there is no more painful sight, there is no grander a sight for sore eyes than when a virgin or a really good girl, one of the most virtuous around that every guy has wanted, when she ends up married to a horrible man. It's the worst sight. There is no more poignant sorrow than that day, because that is a woman that has been conquered by somebody that made her a strategy, made her something that he's gonna have to get to prove that he's the man. And Amanje, in 2023, that's like a whole thing, with a whole thriving man cave of misogynists rolling these streets, priding themselves in minimizing the force field, weakening the force field around some of the most difficult to get women. It has become a whole poignant. So now there's like a problem, like a big problem. Wicked men, like devil worshippers, and I've spoken about this before, literally queuing outside of churches, trying to win God's daughters who are chaste, women who are celibate, and they are trying to forcibly marry them, get into the lives of women of this nature, because it is a whole game in the occult, a whole feat for them to marry Christian women. Like, I've been speaking about this so much. It's a whole intention. The fight, when they get into this, they tell each other, may the odds be ever in your favor. May the best man win. They're not praying to God for a wife because they're not godly. That's the thing. You see, the matting is so extreme. They're not praying to God for a wife because they're not godly, but they will wear a godly costume. They will call themselves Christians. They will speak Christianese. That's what's good. And they will charm the living daylights out of you. They will be handsome. They will be lovely. They will be all these things. And they will love you until you walk down the aisle. And once you have walked down the aisle, that's when they then have no incentive anymore to keep trying. And they've won the bet. And you're married to a devil worshipper. And now it's about to get real miserable for you. Once you have gone that route, you will be embittered, you will be nasty. If you're not a Christian woman, but just a good girl, whatever the standards of this world equate as good, because this world has got its own ideas as to what good is. Yeah, that too is what they seek after. Like a woman that will a good girl that will end up with a guy that has got a reputation historically for just being like no brainer. Ipari, like a player, but you're the only one in the room that does not know that about him. Everybody else knows that you ended up with a guy that has been with the whole high school of girls, but you will be the only one who's Satsibing. Only one. Everybody will know except you. And when you end up with this guy, it'll basically look like child abuse because of how innocent you are in comparison to this guy. You could be the same age, but he would be like Ikesa to you, the way he's got so much experience, and he will pride himself of being able to get the best woman despite having been the worst of men. The best woman despite having been the worst men. It'll look like proper child abuse. And however, everybody that will see this child abuse will say nothing, because ain't nobody out there trying to protect black girls. Ain't nobody out there trying to protect black women. And so you will marry a guy that even on your wedding day, people are like, I can't believe this is happening. Even on your wedding day, people are like, I cannot believe that this marriage actually it got finished. It did not fall through. It like she walked down the aisle. She did it. She said, I do. Hi. Anyway, this guy's a magician. He's got to be, because there's no way that a woman like that would end up with a guy like that. I nearly married Sebo Tawankudwa, Sako America, in this strategy, where a guy that everybody in his life would have been like, how did you get her? And nobody would have stopped me. And on the day, it would have been like, whoa, he did it. And never mind for the first time, but for the third. Not only did he get a really good girl, but she allowed herself to be a third wife. A third wife. I nearly fell into that rabbit hole, but then the Lord rescued me. You know my story, if at all you've been watching my content with any level of seriousness concerning this guy from the US. I don't have to explain it. I don't have to go into depth about it. Nothing of that nature. You can actually you can just go and watch the video that I did yesterday. So this whole sickness of mine that I have been enduring, my mom finally got to a point where she now was like, go to a doctor, even though I'm fine. Now guys, there is no cough. I don't need antibiotics. I don't need a cough syrup. I don't need anything. I just need basically to just finish healing, because I'm done. There is nothing in my chest. I am not sick anymore. I bet you agree. But I'm about to go and get antibiotics. So I'm wondering, God, this nonsense. Me, whatever it is that my mom is doing. The fact that she's only at this very late stage, making a decision that now only I should go see a doctor when I've been sick all this time. And it's taking me out of my schedule. It's taking me out of my way. What's going on over here? And then I realized that all things work out together for the good of them who love the Lord and are called according to his purposes. So here is a woman, right? So the Bible says the soul that sins shall die. Here is a woman that is prepared to watch her daughter lose her face. Her skin is falling apart, and she offered her dermatology visit, did not work out, then said she's gonna go GP, still did not do anything, decided that she's just gonna let her daughter's beauty fade. Is watching her daughter age without children, even though she wanted them. Age without getting married, even though she wanted to get married. All of the things that a young woman aspires for, and any normal mother would be excited for the day that her daughter gets married. Any normal dad would be excited for the day that his daughter gets married. But when you have got an unloved woman that gets married, you're gonna have a mother that will sabotage her child to a point where even if her daughter has got a problem now with skin, she will not take that kid, if at all it's a kid, right, to the dermatologist. Or in my particular case, I'm all grown up, but I'm poor, I'm broke, and my mother has made an observation that my skin is just breaking out horribly. My skin has been breaking out horribly, and she is prepared to watch my beauty fade because she's competing with her own child. So what good could come out of this? Because I'm busy recording videos, you know, every day, sending out a warning. I am sending out messages of admonition to women to basically avoid the fate of my mom, and to also try and be like me, even if you're not necessarily 100% encouraged by my life, because you're still thinking in your heads, but Karabo, you're 39 and you're still not married, girl. What God are you waiting on? I already told you. Yesterday, the video that I did yesterday, please go check it out. The last video from this one, where I was explaining the last days and what's going on with my life, the lack of answered prayer and all that jazz. But in order to gain more of an answer concerning that particular question that you might have. But also, I'm here to highlight something to you. Do not speak too soon. Do not look at my particular circumstance or my situation and be quick to say, we're not all busy or emitting mudimu. Kimo, you are 39 now, and you still are not married. So all of these women were onto something. Who settled? Women who settled were onto something. Do not be quick to get to that conviction, all right? And say that I would much rather get married than never married. And I would much rather have children than never get children. Do not be so fast to imagine me as a person that has lost everything that she asked for because women successfully prospered, and also like bad boyfriends and whatnot, to prevent me from enjoying the glory of my wedding day, the glory of my first pregnancy, second, third, etc. Looking like somebody who has lost all that. Do not be so quick, because there are evidences all over the show displaying that God is 100% interested in maintaining that which women are trying to steal from me. So my mom obviously wants me to lose my beauty. She is prepared to let me lose so much. Oh, my hair is so matted. I can't deal. Aish, I should not have done this. I shouldn't have allowed myself to leave my hair in the state for as long as I did. I knew better. Anyway, whatever. We'll deal with it. I think I'm only gonna do this side and that side, and I'll finish this one tomorrow because I just don't have the energy for all of this detangling. Anywho, anyhow, let's carry on talking. Do not be tempted to imagine my particular situation as not worth the while to follow after or to look at. Why? Because there are evidences already that God is obviously interested that I should be preserved in glory. That God is interested that I should be maintained in that which women are quickly trying to take away from me, so that the hope that I have in Christ. Yet another thing that I was talking about yesterday. Yesterday I was rapping on and on and on about what do you call this thing? You see, I'm so distracted because I'm doing my hair, but let's just carry on talking. Yesterday I was going on and on about the hope. Always, the Bible says that you must always be prepared to give an answer for the glory or the hope that you have within a type establishment thing. So I'm busy out here explaining why I still have hope, why I still have a future, why it's worth the while to follow my example, even though I'm 39 and never married, never had children. I'm trying to get women to that place so that especially women in their 30s will not allow themselves to end up like bitter broads. You don't want to be like my mom, guys. You don't. Look, I told you guys that this side, this side is shorter because I cut it by mistake once upon a time. Look at this side. Look at my hair, guys. It's growing so beautifully. It is growing like, it's unimaginable. Anyway, despite it growing as well as it is, it's heavily matted, and I did this to myself. I can't stand that I did this to myself. But anyway, whatever. Yeah, no. Don't let yourself get to a point of no return, because you will regret it much later. Not that there is a much later to be endured, or not that there is a much later to be experienced, because the world is literally coming to an end. But it's not another story for another day. It's actually a story for yesterday. Go and check out my yesterday video to understand what in the world I'm talking about. Crancat, please don't distract me. Like, leave me alone, dude. Do what you want to do as a cat while I do what I want to do, because I am busy with my hair. I'm busy. Come on. Either go outside or hang out in your bed, but do not distract me. Oh, my hair. It don't move. Okay, no, actually my hair does move. Like what? Guys, look at my acne. Look at my acne. But I am happy to say that acne is not even really acne. At this point, it's just hyperpigmentation. So I don't even know where I was at, but guys, please hold on with me, okay? I'm finally going to get to the point. I struggle to multitask. I'm ultimately going to get to the point. There is clear preservation. You don't, like, my mom is going out of her way to mess with my beauty, and the only reason why she is doing that is because of my faith, my hope. I've held on for years to Jesus. I've held on to him, and she is scared that I might just get what I want anyway. She in and of herself has made an observation. I'm basically frozen in time when it comes to my outward appearance. And while my mother in and of herself is genetically quite blessed because she does not look her age, she looks younger than her real age. Type establishment thing, but not at my level at all. Like what I am, the only reason why she could sit back and do nothing watching me turn is because she remembers how she used to be or how she used to look. Look at the matting. She remembers how she used to be or how she used to look when she was 35, when she was 39, when she was 40. She remembers because by then she had already had 2 kids, right? Me and my older sister. My younger sister, she would have, I believe, in her 40s, right? Type establishment thing. She had already kind of blown out in that, you know how black women get when they get older? They could have been some of the most skinniest teenage girls, but then they just get fat. Like black women let themselves go. Like, while black don't crack, thank you God for our melanin that maintains us in a youthful posture. as we get older. One thing, however, that gives black women away, their age, is weight. Like, that's one thing that black women just not as much anymore, because now fitness has become popular. It's become a whole trend on social media. So a lot more black women are into the gym now. A lot more black women are taking care of their bodies in a way that is basically admirable. So thank God for that. But one thing that definitely ages a black woman and makes her look as old as her counterparts in other races, despite her melanin, ranona. We get fat, and my mom had let herself get there. After 2 pregnancies, she let herself spread. She let herself become a bigger black woman, even though she was a skinny kid. She was skinny in her 20s, but then by the time she got to her late 30s, she kind of, blown up a little bit. The way that black women tend to allow themselves to become little balloons. After like 29, after 28, after 27, I don't know, like, we just let go, man. We let go, especially when we're in relationships. We allow ourselves to know, guys. When I was 25, I was the heaviest. When I was 25, 26, I was the heaviest I'd ever been in my life, because I was in a relationship and I was somewhat happy in that relationship, and it just did not dawn on me that it's not okay. Now that's soya jola. Anyway, whatever, yeah. So they allow themselves to gain weight, to get fat. And we know that pregnancy is not the thing that really messes with a woman's body, because, thanks to social media and this fitness trend going on all over the show, we know that preggy ladies can bounce back. And not just the ones who are celebrities. They can bounce back, and they can bounce back beautifully. So we know that it's not pregnancy. We know it's not the hormones of pregnancy. We know it's not difficulty to shed the fat. We know it's just a lack of discipline. We know that now, okay? So ain't nobody trying to hang out with an excuse as to why under heaven they've just let themselves go. Hey, bathong guys, izinwele ziyakhula lana ne? Akusase kuhle apha. Hey, lezinwele zam. Yo, celebration, celebrate good times, come on. I love looking at my hair, like when I'm busy doing this, what? Hey, boom, next time, where's it gonna be? Here on the boob, I promise you. I don't know how much my hair has grown, but it has grown, y'all. I just don't like the fact that I got all this acne to deal with. Yeah, so my mom had let herself go. She had let herself go like a typical black woman. So I do look much younger than her, than when she was my age, 39, 40 basically. Let's just say 40. Let's round off to the nearest 10. I see myself as a 40-year-old that even though I turned 39 just a month ago, 2 months ago, I literally see myself as 40 because I might as well be, okay? Type establishment thing. So when my mom was 40, she looked not 40 because she's always looked younger than her age, but she definitely did not look as young as I do at the same age. All of this matting, I wish I had not done that. I'm trying to grow my hair. Come on, look at it, guys. Look. Oh, anyway, let me take my time on it and not insist on finishing this tonight, because the thing that's going to really mess me up is if I insist on finishing it tonight. Let me just move all of this hair to this side and deal with it one patch at a time. Anyway, yeah, cool. So weight was a thing, and never mind weight, but bad relationships, bad men, bad experiences in life. Like, when I can't say this enough, and I've said it in my previous videos before, that a horrible man can really mess with a woman's glory. And when I was dating my ex, Lomuntu, he was not my match. He was not my fit. And so there was no encouragement in me to do better or to be bigger. Nothing was motivating me to stay slim. Nothing was motivating me to stay worked out. Well, not that I was working out when I was a kid, really. I was quite lazy for the gym. Nothing made me feel like I gotta basically keep my act together in this relationship. There was no motivation. And when you're in a bad relationship where you are incompatible with somebody, you will let yourself go. Do you understand what I'm saying? In a perfect match, or okay, there's no such thing as a perfect match. There is actually in Christ, but that's another story for another day. All right, there will be. The Bible says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another." So when you're in a good union, you will be with somebody that helps you be the best version of yourself. And that never happened with my ex. So I gained a lot of weight. I allowed myself to be let go. I just was merely just going through the modes. And after we broke up, that's when I turned my life to Christ. Okay? It was because of horrible experiences in that relationship that I fully surrendered to the Lord, because I needed healing. All of a sudden, the weight came falling off, guys. All of a sudden, I started to get dressed for my body. Like, I started to buy clothing to look good. I worked on myself because I was single, and I wanted to attract a man that was going to, I guess, find me attractive. And so I couldn't be just anyhow. I couldn't just walk around in just, rags that I put on. So literally I got a whole wardrobe haul, and I changed my clothes, and I also cleared my skin. I went to the dermatologist. I got off the pill. I was on Diane 35 that made me gain a lot of weight, right? And then I got off that pill and I broke out, and I was not going to not an orthodontist, but a dermatologist. I was just allowing my skin to do whatever. But then I made a decision that I was going to go and see a dermatologist, clear my skin. I also lost weight because I entered into a discipline of fasting because of my faith, my religion. And that helped me lose weight alongside dropping the pill. So I lost the weight. I got a wardrobe haul in the sense that I changed my whole outfit. And I started to get how I used to dress. And so I started to get a lot of compliments around by people that I was working with, people that I was studying with at school. They noticed the change, and it made me feel really good inside. And at some point I realized that, when you're in a relationship that is not the right one for you, you will be lethargic, you will let yourself go, you will fall apart, you will not be a better version of yourself, but just some figment, some little half of a previous imagination that is no longer present. And you will, if you don't get out of there real fast, go back to things like photographs. Now that you have completely let yourself go, and you will hate the woman you allowed yourself to become. Guys, let me just move to the next part.